Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Hope you're going well out there, guys. Take a look at my side in a moment. I think it was actually a pretty good week. I've definitely got a few dead weight players that I'm carrying around. I tell you what, if one of my rookies either gets subbed off or starts as a sub one more time, we are not going to make any sort of money. But we did have a couple of saviours. Tommy McCarthy, a few people would have traded him in. Definitely going to be a guy that's going to make us some cash, I think. Most disposals ever for a West Coast debutant. Pretty impressive. And even Zach Johnson worked out pretty nicely. And Tyrell Dewar, he actually produced pretty nicely. Didn't use the ball well, but he could actually make me a bit of cash, which could save me. But on a side note, look, the other day, I was off work for a few days and my colleagues dropped off a box of favourites on my front door. How lovely. Nice message. Missing you. Thinking of you. You know, take it easy. Hope to see you back soon. Lovely gesture. We love that. And I'm digging into the favourites. And I don't know. I don't, as popular as they are, I don't roll the box of favourites too often. And as I was just sitting there, feeling sorry for myself, snacking on my favourites, I just thought, the Morrow. What in God's name is the Morrow doing in a favourites box? This is a box created of chocolates that are supposedly the favourites. And then I'm at me old man's place. He's like, oh, I love a Morrow. I'm like, what? I've never heard that sentence uttered in my life. Who loves a Morrow? Look, odds are someone out there is probably like, Shorty, bro, you're missing out. But isn't that just like a Kmart version of a Mars bar? Like, isn't that a poor man's Mars bar? Surely. I mean, I can understand the boost. I mean, I respect the twirl. I've got a bit of time for the old gold. Unpopular opinion. Turkish Delight, not my thing, but I understand why it's in there. Couple of bits and you got to get the dream back. The dream's got to come back. Got to have a white chocolate sort of option. But I don't know, when have you ever even seen a Morrow bar? Like, does it only even exist in like the favourites box? How is it in the top tier of chocolates? But hell, no one wants to buy an actual bar. I'm sure they exist. I mean, they have to for it to even be there in the first place. But, mate, had me baffled, bro. Had me absolutely baffled. I don't know why it took me so many years to really think that, but I was just like, what is going on here? Oh, the Crunchy. The Crunchy's a great call. And Dad's like, oh, I actually prefer a violet crumble. I'm like, okay, Jeff. You're just saying that to be a bit different, aren't you, mate? But, look, let's take a look at my SuperCoach side. I went through it before. I was going to go through it just in case it hadn't updated, but let's see if it's updated. It hasn't updated. All right, so we'll just go through it. Tell you what, let's go. The Shorty's votes really landed himself pretty easy too, and I reckon it's going to start to heat up. So Tristan Cherry 105 did not feature in the votes, and it's clearly Max Holmes is dominating. That's 3 votes, Holmes, and then it had to be out of Whitfield and Sarong. And look, they both equally had to respond a bit to me. Almost gave Whitfield the 2 votes, but I felt like Sarong just had as much to respond to as well. So I've given Sarong the 2 votes just because he outscored Whitfield. But yeah, look, we're going to give Holmes the 3 there. And he goes boom into equal second now. And then we'll roll. Sarong wouldn't have polled, would he? And of course, Whitfield wouldn't have polled either because he has recently come into my side. But yeah, absolute relief seeing Whitfield go back to half back because I was like, oh no, if this bloody turns out to be a disaster trade in, I'll just be filthy. But I definitely thought Callahan coming back would have helped with that, and it certainly did. So, but yeah, that's the leaderboard. So it's really heating up. Obviously, Cherry's got a strong lead. DeConing was really good as my captain, but Holmes, you just can't deny that 155. He's in outstanding form. So I'll go through my team, and we'll just start back later and finish things off when the rankings do finally update. But yeah, McCarthy, absolutely fantastic. Like, had a stack of the footy. Probably would have tonned up. Probably went 120. 130. Holy moly. 133 for 99k. That is wild. He will be one of the most traded in players, no doubt about that. But look at that back line, just doing wonders. You know, Sinclair turning up, Dale looking great, Holmes on fire, Whitfield back in business, Wanganeen Miller just doing his thing, and Sheasel, he's back, baby. We love to see it. Clark, I really needed more from you, mate, because we need that cash gen, bro, but can almost put a line through him. Butters, solid without being great. Merritt, I'll take the 100 because he used the footy. He did some unmerit-like things. Obviously, I watched this game pretty close because they played the Cats. He was getting caught holding the ball. He was turning the footy over by foot. But the saving grace is that he was back in the guts. So I don't know if the stats are updated yet, but high centre bounce. The halfback thing was not working. And Zach Merritt, he was, back in there 74% of the time. That's what we like to see. So it wasn't an amazing score by any means, but Merritt's back in business. Glad I held on to him. Sarong we touched on. Will Ashcroft, and not going great. And Luke Davies-Uniacke, they're my two guys that probably don't warrant a selection really at this stage of the year. Going okay is Will Ashcroft, all considering. We all know about LDU, but he had a stunning... He just finds a way to piss me off every week in different ways. If he's not going crap, he's finding a way to dominate the first quarter. I rarely look at the scores live, but can someone tell me what LDU was in a quarter time? It must have at least been 50. He was on 74 at halftime, ends up on 102. I'll take 100 from him. I don't want to be greedy, but this guy just finds a way to frustrate me every time. 6 frees against, getting caught holding the ball. He does my head in, this guy, but either he or Ashcroft will be one of my last upgrades. If I can still afford to do it, trades permitting, I'll try and upgrade one of them to Gorn, but I reckon we just updated, guys. That must have just been a cheeky little update. Give me a ranking, guys. This is a live update, my guys. Or will it? Maybe it's got a buffer itself. Damn, SuperCoach is just ticking over live here. There we go. Ticks over live. So I would like to think I moved up in rank. Yeah. So look, we're not overly jumping out of the box for 30,000. I had to laugh on TikTok. Some bloke was like, "Why are you listening to a guy who's ranked 35,000?" I'm like, "Bro, hey, whoa. I'm ranked 34,000th, mate. Let's not get too harsh here, brother." But yeah, much better ranking, which is good. Obviously, a long way to go, and there's a bit of dead weight as we touched on. You know, Huswaite, terrible. Clay Hall, sub, very frustrating. I mean, added bonus because I didn't even expect him to come back to the team, but still very frustrating. Zach Johnson is the one. So I pretty much need, looking at this side, basically what I need is backline's complete. Anderson will come back in. Dacos will come back in. So it's one upgrade in that midfield. So I just need someone to get beyond 250k to upgrade to Bont and Pally. So Bont's going to drop drastically. If there's one thing that's really going to help me, it's Bont coming to probably below 550, which is outrageous. So that's going to help hugely. I've still got some cash in the bank, and I know I had some feedback in the comments about why you're always holding cash in the bank, but I'm just trying to have guys bottom out and try and snap them up at the exact moment where they're cheapest because we are so tight for cash. And look, unfortunately, my plan to bring in Hall Francis really cheap is just not going to happen. So he's going to be cheap for what he's worth, but you know, he wasn't far off his break even. So very frustrating. His break even is probably going to be 130. So yeah, he'll be cheap. He'll be cheaper than what we would have been able to get him at other stages of the season, but realistically, I was hoping to get him in the lower 400s. Now we'll probably be lucky to get 480, so not ideal there, which is slightly frustrating. But yeah, Johnson will be the saving grace because we need someone to make some cash and just finalise that final position in the midfield. Cherry and DeConing doing their thing, and this is just the small intricacies of like the VC that can just get you sometimes and sometimes not. Like last week, I go to the VC Holmes, nail it, 150, fantastic. And then you're almost barracking against the mainstream captain option, which was Cherry. I would have loved to get a 105 from Cherry last week to really give me extra bang for buck on my Holmes VC. Turns out Cherry scores the same. You get no advantage. got a slight advantage, but a lot probably would have gone as well. So, yeah, just a little side note there. Smith, really good. Martin started and finished well, but really quiet in the middle there. McRae, probably not exactly what we're after, having held him for a long time, but hopefully he does respond. Rankin, it's a long period of time now. There's got to be some concerns raised with him, I think. The role, just a slight change in the percentages around his forward and mid-time. It's just not quite what we would like from him, but I'm certainly not in a position to be trading him out. Pedler was subbed out, frustrating. And yeah, Dewar, did not use the footy well at all, but had 27 touches, played a bit of half-back and wing, and he could also be a bit of a saviour for me. Going to have a really nice break-even. And Vicentini, I knew this would be his last week in my side, given Sweet came back. And yeah, just that's been a poor selection. I was sort of hopeful that sometimes we see ruckman come in midway through the year, get the number one ruck spot, and just really average high 80s for the rest of the year. After Vicentini started that way, I thought, do we have a Riley O'Brien 2.0? I don't know if you remember Riley O'Brien, but I remember selecting him at like R3 when he really burst on the scene, and it was this fantastic sort of moneymaker for me. Vicentini certainly hasn't panned out like that, but I reckon it was here. I reckon he might have, yeah, this would have been it, I reckon. He just came in, someone got injured, and yeah, just produced a great season. But anyway, maybe we were clutching at straws there. But so that's how the side went. How many leagues did we get? We got 12 league wins. Oh, close one there with Harley. Oh, Harley AFL talk, mate. Very close game between me and you, bro. Couple of wins early, but we've obviously faded here. Oliver's got me there. Charles got me there. And then, 13-point loss to Will. That hurts. Nice score there from Matthew. 2,200 pretty handy. And a 6-point loss to Dylan. Oh, bro, that hurts. So, look, in terms of... I think I had a bit of a trade plan. I did. So... in terms of my plans, obviously that's gone. So, yeah, I don't really have exact plans. Of course, McCarthy will be coming in, but I'm sort of looking at Dewar to Horne-Francis at some stage, but that's going to have to kind of change because Dewar's going to make more money by the time Horne-Francis bottoms out. I sort of like to try and match up, people to the trade-in target. So I think Dewar's almost looking like the Bont and Pally trade at some point. Vicentini's probably the Horne-Francis trade. Or someone straight away. So, yeah, we're going to have to finish off that flex M8 and F6. And it's going to have to be from Zach Johnson, Dewar, and Vicentini. We've got the 460k in the bank, which is good. But looking at my plans, I'm going to need to have probably I'd like another 200k because then you'd love to eventually get Gorn. Like, you'd love to eventually upgrade a struggling LDU or Ashcroft to Gorn and just flick it around, put him in the flex. I don't know if I might have to go down to like a couple of trades. It might have to be, a slow burn of an Angus Clark, but his cash gen's getting stalled. This is the killer with the sub. You think a guy's just, not that Clark got subbed, but I actually thought his role looked all right, but he just didn't find the footy. They just go from guys like where you're like, okay, we could get another 50 or 60k to boom. They're done. They might get dropped. Like a 4 and a 30, it just kills you. 35, Pedler's probably done. So not exactly sure what I'm going to do. And then we've of course got to probably have a look at, finding some, the inclusion on McCarthy, try and get our most bang for buck. It's probably going to be Clark to McCarthy in a week. I'll give Clark one more price rise just to, get a little bit extra cash from him. But yeah, just trying to make as much bang for buck as I can. But yeah, we'll plan that out later in the week. So yeah, I'll wait and see. Oh wait, they did update, didn't they? We already covered that. So I was in the mindset I'll I was going to log on later and finish it off, but it uploaded mid-record, didn't it? So, yeah, we'll go live on Wednesday. Definitely a mixed bag of inclusions. McCarthy stunk it up. Bergman did well. A lot of people bought in McCarthy. He did really well. So, yeah, a bit of a mixed bag on the old inclusions front. But, yeah, like I've always said, this season's been a stinker. I just want to have 8 or 9 weeks to end the season where I feel good about this side. I'd love to finish it off and feel good about it coming out of the buys. We're relatively on track. Definitely going to be a little bit short on fielding an absolute premium 23. We might be lacking someone like a Gorn, but look, let's wait and see. But yeah, I'll upload this one now. Yeah, if you've got any questions, chuck them in the comments or feel free to pop on to the live on Wednesday. Cheers.